Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Magical Witchy World TV. I am Starr RavenHawk.
And I am Rhonda Allen. Welcome back, everyone. We are so happy to have you joining us tonight, back for week two. So, as we stated in our debut show, this channel is about exposing our magical witchy world to the mundane world by sharing our vast and diverse magical communities with everyone in all of our various facets. Tonight, we are really proud to welcome Selena Fox to the show, to Magical Witchy World TV. So,
Yay.
before we invite her in, a little something to share with you.
Earth Day, every day, green our lives in every way.
Welcome, Selena, to the show.
Yay! So happy to have you here.
Wonderful to be here.
Happy.
So good to be
Yeah,
with you
welcome.
all. And blessed dark moon.
Yes,
Blessed
yes,
New
dark
blessed
moon.
dark
moon.
moon to you as well, and to everyone else.
So, before we begin our Q&A, our questions with you, I wanted to give everyone a bit of your background. So I'm going to go through some bio notes that I have here for you. And I want to start with introduction. Selena Fox is a pagan priestess, hedge witch, podcaster, psychotherapist, and author. She is a senior minister of Circle Sanctuary, which has been serving pagans, witches, and other nature spirituality practitioners worldwide for more than 45 years. She is founder of Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve, located in the forested hills of southwestern Wisconsin, and its Circle Cemetery, a national pagan cemetery that is also one of the first green cemeteries in North America. Selena's
Yay.
writings, rituals, chants, and photographs are widely published online and in print. Selena does readings, counselings, and psychotherapy with clients via Zoom and phone consultations. She facilitates rituals and workshops online via two weekly podcasts on CSNP, Circle Sanctuary's Internet Radio Network. She's also the founder of the Circle Craft tradition, which blends together ancient and contemporary pagan folkways, multicultural shamanism, and nature mysticism. We're going to scroll your website online in just a second, but we wanted to welcome you we wanted to provide that background and welcome you to Magical Witchy Times TV.
Yes, thank
Thank
you. I'm
you.
so glad to have you here tonight on this dark moon as well. And we would love to have you begin with one of your many chants that you love to do on this, especially this dark moon. So go right ahead, honey.
So this is a chant that I use as part of dark moon celebrations. Dark moon being the very last part of a lunation, a lunar month. So it's new moon tomorrow, it's dark moon tonight. Powers of the dark moon, powers of the old moon, powers of the old moon, be in us.
Oh, yay. That
Blessings.
is so
Blessings.
wonderful.
Love
Blessed dark
that. Thank
moon.
you. Blessed
Okay.
Dark Moon.
Yeah. So, in my experience over the many years, many of us refer ourselves by many different names. So, I would love to hear, how do you refer to yourself?
It depends on the context. In my early days, I used witch as my primary identifier, and that expanded out to pagan.
Mm.
And I still have those identifiers as part of my mix. But if I'm going to be in a context where people don't understand what those words mean, I may start by talking about being a nature spirituality minister. And I've started using the term nature spirituality, which actually I began using back in the 1970s as more of an umbrella term that not only includes witches, druids, Wiccans, heathens, pantheists, pantheists, animists, and a whole wide
A whole
range of pagan
slew.
Yeah.
paths. But there are people who really don't want to use a particular word to define their spirituality. They might say, well, my church is in the woods, or I'm a lover of nature. And there are a lot of people who are spiritual but not religious these days. They may not be connected with a particular religious institution or community or path, but they have much in common. So a lot of it depends on the context. Certainly at pagan festivals, a lot of those terms are used interchangeably. And another thing that's happened since 1971, when I did my very first public pagan ritual. I was a senior at the College of William and Mary in Virginia. It was a rite of spring. We invoked Mother Earth and Dionysus as part of that ceremony. Well, since that time, there's been a real growth in the number of pagan paths, and not everybody who's practicing some form of magic, of witchery, might know names to call their paths, but they resonate with nature in a deep, sacred way. And we become more global. There are more witches and pagans that are around the world that are out about, which is fabulous. So as we
Yeah.
become more globally connected and there are more paths that are present, it's fabulous to be able to come in different ways. And I'm happy to report that
Yes.
in a variety of religious settings, increasing numbers of witches and pagans and people on related paths are actually at the table now. The Parliament of the World's Religions happens in
Yes. Yes.
August of this year, 2023, August 14th through 18th. Circle Sanctuary is one of the pagan churches that will be there and having a delegation. And I'm so excited to be able to join not only with other pagans there, but people from all the world's religions. It's really
Yeah.
a wonderful thing.
That's awesome.
That is
That's awesome.
fabulous.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
I'm really curious to learn more about that conference that's coming up, that event in
I know,
August.
right?
Yes. So going backwards in time a little bit, just to go back to get a little bit more of your history, what actually brought you to the life, or let's say recognizing yourself as somebody who might be considered witch in the old days or nature spiritualist in today's language?
Well, since I was a very young child, I've had this amazing, magical, witchy connection with nature. And actually, some of the first books that I read were about witches. There is a book that came out in the 1950s called Little. I liked that book so much. I kept checking it out at the library at the public school.
That is
And for me,
fabulous.
when I've heard the word witch from the earliest ages of this life, to me, it was someone who was in the world, attuned to nature, and being helpful. And I have felt a resonance with that term from a very early age. I had no idea when I was 6 years old that I would be a Wiccan priestess and pagan minister as my living, but that's pretty much what happened. And I I really found as I was growing up that there were other people that shared the interest and the fascination. So I got a lot of my early understanding from some fictional books and some tales that were told to me about witches that were good influences in the
Mhm.
world. The
Right,
Three
right.
Lives
You.
of Thomasina, an old Disney classic.
Yes.
I
All
loved
right, I
that.
Yes.
remember seeing that.
And
Yes,
Yes.
I've heard of
and
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and one of the goddesses that I aligned with early on in my priestess life, that of Bast, or some people call her Bastet, an Egyptian goddess. She has
Mhm.
a cameo appearance in that Disney film. And I will say that over
Yes.
the years, I have been able to connect with people, information that complement and inform my way of being in the world. When I first started publicly being a witch and talking about the religion was in the 1970s. I started Circle Sanctuary back in 1974. And in 1976, I was interviewed by a local Madison, Wisconsin newspaper and talked about the craft and talked about Halloween and Samhain. And
that's
then
awesome.
Time magazine showed up at a pagan festival.
Wow.
Several years after that, I was one of the people at the festival, and the festival movement was in its early stages then. And we
Mm.
actually had paganism, contemporary paganism, on the religion page of a major
Wow.
magazine.
Wow.
So it was really amazing. I wasn't looking for the publicity. I was doing a hand fasting, a pagan wedding at that festival. And of course, jumping the broom tradition that
Right.
is part of many hand fastings, witch
Mhm.
weddings, pagan hand fastings that I do. And yes, there's picture me holding a broom above my head in front of the
Fabulous.
couple
Fabulous.
here. Well,
That's
once
awesome.
that happened, I was totally out of the broom closet. That magazine
Literally.
was seen
Yes.
all around the planet, and that was back before the internet.
Right.
And I was requests for interviews from other countries, and I really saw this as an
Yay.
opportunity to help build public understanding of who witches and pagans are, and really the diversity we have. Just as other world religions, you have people from different walks of life, different
Yes.
ethnicities, different educational journeys, and it's been really fabulous to see growing understanding not only in the United States but other parts of the world. And I'm very thankful to be one of the many people that have been willing to be public and to build bridges of understanding. We really need
Huge.
to have equality, liberty, and justice for all. Unfortunately, there are
Agreed.
some people who do not understand us, who are prejudiced, and that
Yeah.
have made it their lot in life to go after witches,
Yeah.
druids, heathens, Wiccans, and other pagans. So
Right,
the
Yes.
right.
Lady Liberty League is something that emerged in 1985
Mhm.
as a result of some federal legislation
Mm.
that was going to be passed that would have taken away equal rights within, say, which meant that Wiccan churches could no longer have tax exempt status, which would make us
Right.
Mm.
second class religious organizations in the country. So we took that on along with lots of other people.
And
Yes.
And the good
actually, that
news
was one of the
is,
questions we had on the list was to ask you about Lady Liberty League and
Yeah.
how it was founded and what the activity is and what actions are going on right now.
Yeah. So that's great that you go ahead.
Yeah, so literally people from all across the USA, not only people from the greater pagan community, and I use that as an umbrella term, were contacting their senators and congress people about this, but people of other religions. And I do think one of the powerful things that came out of the protest and the joining together to stand up for our rights in September and October of 1985 is that
Yeah.
more people understood who we were, and the legislation, fortunately,
Yes,
was
it passed.
defeated. And that's
Yay.
how Lady Liberty League got born. We called it
Wow.
at the time Pagan Strength Web, all the networking we were doing. And a few years later, we called it Lady Liberty League. Most people know about Lady Liberty, but do they recognize that Liberty is a pagan goddess from ancient Rome? Her name back then, Libertas. But yes, when you take the
Yeah.
Pledge of Allegiance in America, liberty and justice for all, well, liberty and justice were
Yes.
deified in ancient pagan cultures. And I continue to work with Lady Justice and Lady Liberty and a whole lot of other deities to help bring about equal rights for our people.
Yes.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you. So great hearing, some of the people that was behind that, because I've taught that at my different classes with people, as part of our classes, to let them know their rights was fought for and won
Mhm.
by you guys. You paved the way for us to be able to even do what we're doing right now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So we're standing on your backs for those rights to be able to have the right to, be our own religion, start our own thing. So we really wish to thank you and all the others for all the work you guys have done. So it was really, well, that was with Clinton, but
Well,
with Clinton, it was passed as a religion duly on the books. I remember that. So it's just wonderful, like having all of that done. So thank you. Okay.
well, you would think here's this federal thing that happened, and we finally win this. It was a month of a lot of communication with Capitol Hill. But in 1999, more federal legislation was going to get passed. Somebody
Mm.
had Bob Barr propose this
Mhm.
legislation, which would make it illegal for Wiccans in the US military to practice their religion
Yep,
while
I
they
remember that.
were at military installations. I called it Bar Wars because
Yeah.
Well
Star
said.
Wars was a big thing back then.
Well
And this
said.
is Bob Barr. And just, I mean, how awful that was.
Yeah.
You had people putting their lives on the line
Yeah.
for, and um, some people, elected officials, are supposed to uphold the Constitution, but this
Right.
was definitely a violation of separation of church and state and undermining the
Yes. Yes.
Constitution. So once again, people came together, Lady Liberty League and a lot of other people came together. And the good news is that legislation, which was introduced not once, but twice, got defeated. Hooray! So, okay, 1999 has the political establishment in the USA gotten the point yet? Well, we had another big case, and it went on for 10 years to get
Wow.
the right of those who have served in the US military to have the pentacle, the encircled star, on the list of emblems that can be included in government issued grave markers. It took 10 years and
Wow.
multiple lawsuits, religious freedom lawsuits. And I want to give thanks to American United for Separation of Church and State that
Mhm.
represented us, and um, those who really needed to have this symbol on the list. And with the
Mhm.
help of a lot of people supporting it in the court of public opinion, it finally was successful. But just
That was
because we've
Yay.
had
fabulous.
one success, as you can tell, it doesn't mean it's forever going to solve the issue. No, we've got to stay vigilant and we need to be engaged and
Yes.
to speak truth to power and to organize, to
Yes.
motivate and stand up for
Yes.
our rights.
Well, we're on this topic of the work of the Lady Liberty League. One of the questions that's come through the chat is there current work that's being done? Are there any pieces of legislation coming through or any active, I don't want to say battles, but any active work that's happening right now?
Yeah.
Yes, we're constantly having people come to us asking for help. In fact,
Mhm.
right before coming on night, I saw a message posted on Facebook saying, "Oh, go and contact Selena about this thing." And I
Oh my gosh.
messaged back and said, "Yes, contact Lady Liberty, get your information out." Some people have a pagan store that and are
Mm.
experiencing harassment, and that's a kind
Ah,
of situation that has happened over the years. Unfortunately, some people are not embracing the freedom of religion that's supposedly guaranteed to us by the Constitution. And I know with Witches Fest USA, we are working
yes.
to stop the bigots from disrupting that event.
Yes.
And thank you, Starr, for continuing to your quest, and you, Rhonda, as well. Everybody else working with you.
Thank you.
And yes, there's some more work that needs to be done with that.
Yes.
A woman was
We're working
fired
on
from
that.
her job for being pagan at
Mm.
Panera Bread. We've been tracking that case. I've been in touch with the attorney, and it's in the courts process right now. There's an arbitration
Okay.
piece that's
Right.
going on. But
Okay.
child custody, being able to have events at venues and
Right.
not, and to be secure. I mean, these things happen for people of other religions. We need to have that safety and protection as well.
Well said. Well
Absolutely.
said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I
Did
was
you?
just going to say this is a bit of a shift in the topic, but before we lose our time here, I wanted to make certain that we had an opportunity to speak about upcoming events that you have in 2023. So if you could share with us, what do you have coming up on the calendar? What's coming up next?
Well,
And what are
every
some of the
month,
biggest events? Yeah.
okay, well, every month we do a full moon circle. It's free, it's live streamed to the Circle Sanctuary YouTube channel. And we have one coming up on the 5th of February, 2023. As we do our full moon circles, each full moon has a theme and we give it a name. January, it was the Befana Night full moon circle because we had it on Befana Night, the Italian, some people call her Christmas or Yule or New Year witch. Well, our February one is in the middle of World Interfaith Harmony Week. We're doing loving kindness as our theme. And we'll have
Beautiful.
Springtime Rising in March. We celebrate the Sabbath at Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve in southwestern Wisconsin, USA. So we have in person gatherings, and my workshop at these festivals also is online. So I have a brand new Bridget workshop for our Imbolc Festival on Saturday, February 4th. And it's Bright Bridget Blessings from 1 until 2 Central or 2 to 3 Eastern. And you can get some more information at the Circle Sanctuary website. Our biggest event is Pagan Spirit Gathering. It is summer solstice week every year, and we're going to have it in Missouri and bring forth sorts of people from across the US and some other countries to
Yes,
celebrate
yes,
not only summer solstice, but pagan community. So those are some
yeah.
of the events that we have coming up. And I'm so thankful to be on Magical Witchy World TV. I did my
Thank
Thank
very
you.
you.
first witchy TV program back in the 1980s. It was broadcast TV, community sponsored television. And to be here on television with both of you is just fabulous. So at this
That's
dark moon
awesome.
time, I send you lots of blessings for the Magical Witchy World TV. We need to have
Thank you. Thank
broadcasting
you.
Thank you.
online and in many forms so that we can be connected and we can let the larger world be able to
Yes,
connect with us and
yes,
Yeah.
recognize that
absolutely.
we are part of the beautiful tapestry of diversity of religion
Absolutely.
and culture and ways of being here on planet Earth and the universe. So I'm
Yeah,
wishing you all dark moon, new moon blessings. And it's
yeah.
Lunar New Year this
Yes.
Yeah,
weekend
absolutely.
on
And
Sundays.
as you said that last part about wishing us many dark moon blessings, I would love to have you do another chant for us for the dark moon if you can.
That would be
We'd really
fabulous.
love that.
Yes, and so one of the things around dark moon time is it's a real opportunity to do a reset. Well, to do a reset, you need to clear away what no longer serves. You need to dispel negativity. And so dark moon is a powerful time to do that. And it's a time for healing. So this is a dark moon healing incantation. Dark moon cleansing. Dark moon releasing, dark moon dispelling, dark moon healing, dark moon cleansing, dark moon releasing, dark moon dispelling, dark moon healing, dark moon cleansing, dark moon releasing, dark moon dispelling, dark moon healing. So let
Hey,
it be.
Beautiful. Thank you.
that's so
So mote
beautiful.
be.
So
That's
motive
beautiful.
Vihan. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Selena. We really appreciate you joining us
Yeah,
here tonight.
yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful
Such
to
a
be
pleasure.
here and best wishes for all of
Thank you.
your
And we
magical witchy world magic.
Thank you.
and
We're going
one
to
more
bid
thing.
you
We
farewell
wanted to
tonight.
quickly say we cannot
Yes.
wait to have you back with us at our Witchy World panel in February 10th and the 17th that we're going
Yes.
to be having. So thank you very much again for being here tonight. It's been an
Thank
Bye
honor and
you.
pleasure.
bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye. And before we move on to the next section, we want to share a word from one of our sponsors. Well,
Oh,
we
yeah.
are going to be at Manifestasia. That event is
Yes,
happening
we
this
are.
weekend. So, very quickly, I will be teaching my workshop tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. My workshop is creating your personal social justice mantra. And Starr, what will you be teaching?
Okay, so I will be there as well, and I think I'm on at 4:30, right? PM
Yeah, I think it's
Eastern.
the afternoon.
And mine is a plethora of candle spells. I think there's about, I don't know, 20 or 25 different types of candles that I have that I show you how to work different spells with and how to work with them to get amazing outcomes. So I hope to see many of you there and get your tickets. There's still time. So
Yes.
hopefully we'll see some of you there this weekend. Thank you.
Excellent. Awesome. We're going to jump into our next section. Hold on one second.
All right. So, as we said, 2023 is the year of the major life changing shifts. And one of the most important transits of the year is when Saturn enters Pisces on March 7th and 2023. And then it will stay there until May of 2025. I think May 24th of 2025. Um, Saturn, which is we kind of know is a planet associated with discipline, commitment, structure, and resilience. So it kind of forces you to learn how to take responsibility for your own actions, kind of own up to your own things. You can't run from it. It's not going to let you run from it.
Not at
So
all.
all of you who's been kind of coasting and saying you can get away from the stuff like that, no, it's not going to let you. It's going to force you to face up to it and deal with it, good, bad, or indifference. So
Yes.
you're going to have to just face it. And one of the things it kind of does, Saturn will kind of do a kind of a turn through Pisces from March 7th through May 24th, as I said, then from August 31st, 2025 until February 13th of 2026. And that's when it would end that full cycle of capitalism, which had began in 1996. But the Piscean influence will kind of destroy whatever needs to go of that capitalism and the different things like that.
So things will be
So Rhonda,
definitely
on the other part.
moving through. Right. So globally, Saturn will introduce, and I have my notes here, so you guys bear with me. It's going to introduce um, ethics and a call to raise the minimum age for social media target advertising. Currently, it's 13 years old, and there'll be
Mm,
additional regulations over Silicon Valley. And this is important that we manage information overload basically and
yeah,
how quickly
yeah,
it gets to our young people. We'll be seeing impacts to the opioid crisis, brought on by the pharmaceutical industry. Yes, that is going to be an issue, but that will also be addressed. Some reckoning will be happening there.
yes,
Events to repeal the cannabis punishments will gain more mainstream traction, and that's really a powerful activity that should be happening. Those controlling the streams of consumption will face accountability in some way. So the structures will be impacted. So Saturn's transits will deal with structures and monoliths. Some will face a reckoning so that new ones can be built, either by rebellion, assimilation, or reinvention. Foundations and systems will be built for change, adaptability, honesty, and respect for everyone. So we can see this is like fundamental foundational shifts that are coming up. On
yeah,
a personal level, excuses will not cut it anymore, which is what you were talking about, Starr. We're not going to be able
yeah,
to just kind of sit back and cast ourselves as perpetual victims of some kind. That's going to go out the window. It will no longer work, won't be tolerated.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last time that Saturn was in Pisces was back in 1996, and they had to clear, like the people of that time or the children of the 90s had to literally clear a path out of the AIDS Holocaust kind of a thing, and that late a bit of the late capitalistic sickness that they had back then. So the new generations right now that we are in right now and going forward, you guys are going to have to do the same for your destinies, no matter how grim the forecast is. We have the climate catastrophe, we've got social disconnection, mass surveillance, we've got disinformation and everything else going on. And you guys, many have paved the way for you. And now moving forward, you're going to have to now pave that way and change the things to what you want it to be in the future, the things that you see that's wrong right now. And I have to say, I'm proud of many of the young people that I see
Yeah.
that take up that fight. They stand there and they battle it and they're like, no, we are intolerant of this. And they
Yeah.
will fight it to the bitter end. And I so appreciate all of you young people picking that up and saying, we're not going to deal with this. We're going to make changes for us.
Yes.
So it's something that you're going to have to carry on because others have done so in the past. I mean,
Yes.
we've got, and the last time a lot of it has happened, look at people like Jane Fonda. She was born with a Saturn in Pisces, and she ditched her, her waspy image to fight against bloodshed. We've got what is her name? Sinead O'Connor, the singer
Sinead O'Connor.
that
Yes.
left the mainstream music industry behind to retain her authenticity. We've got
Hmm.
Robert Downey Jr., who everybody thought was that's it, with all the drugs that he was taking and everything that he would not be able to cast for any movies. But look what he did. In
Yes.
Iron Man, he did stuff. He became, remember when he did what you call it? Sherlock Holmes kicked butt.
Yes.
He had me going, oh my goodness. Like all those things. He came back and he showed he had the gumption, he had the fight still. They
Yes.
go against it. You know what I mean? They have to fight. You kind of have to make choices and defy or assert your power and make choices for yourself. You can't sit on the sidelines anymore.
Right.
Not sit back
Right.
and say, I'm not picking sides, I'm going to just sit neutral. It's not allowing you to do that.
No.
That's
It,
why this shift is so important because it's saying to you, you can no longer sit on the sidelines.
right. Time to be active.
Yeah.
So, goddesses of the 2020s will help us foster connections, service, self-sacrifice, no longer tolerating the whataboutism. So that is important. Um, as Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune cross through Aries over the next decade, new pantheons will rise, new original points of view will lead the way forward. So the answer won't be to shun technology, but to put it to higher service.
Ooh,
Key,
yes,
put it to
yes,
higher service. And
yes.
we have an immense amount of talent to put that work into action. Put that technology into action. What are the other things? The American and European dream will not be as we now know it. The upside is that it also awakens our compassion and a desire to help those who are currently struggling under the current systems. There may be a rise in utopian ideals and idealistic political movements like socialism and communism. Whether any of it will work in the long run is another matter. There's going to be upheaval, but the point is we have opportunity for discussion and growth. We have opportunity to really take a deep dive, deep, close look. There will also be a revival of different pagan practices, forming new spaces and new communities. So
Yeah,
paying attention, engaging with community, key. That's key for what's coming
yeah.
out.
And there is a huge rise in maybe not being witches, but pagans in general. And there's going to be even more so, according to, because that's because of the Piscean effects.
Hmm.
That part is all about spirituality and bringing back things because it helps with our psychic not just our psychic abilities but our psyche,
Yes.
because there's a lot of mental health breakdowns, and this is the part people are going to reach out to their spirituality or create their own spirituality and make it work for them to be able to help to guide them through those mental health issues that they have, as well as guide them to people that they can get the help from.
Well
So
said.
you kind of, these are things it's telling you that we have to face. We will be facing it, and it's telling you these are the times that it will help you, guide you through a lot of this. Listen to it, go with your gut, and make it work to help you through all of it.
This
Okay?
next period. Let's go ahead and throw some cards.
Yeah. All right. So did you have time to pull
So
your card yet? I'm still doing mine.
I haven't pulled my card yet, but something you just said brought up an image in my mind about the card of 2023, which happens to be the Chariot. And
All
that
right.
notion of that spiritual awakening piece and that spiritual awareness that there's more to us and we really need to tap into that. That is the card of 2023, the Chariot. It's not just victory over the mundane world. It's also acknowledging that we are of, oh, look at what the card is that just popped up for me. You guys, you can't make this stuff up. That
Oh
is
my
the card that
goodness, wait a
literally
minute.
just jumped out of my deck.
Is
It
that
is
the one
the
that's on the
Chariot.
oh my gosh, look at that.
That is the
You can't
card that
make that stuff
jumped.
up. You just
It is
can't.
funny. You can't make that stuff up. In any case, yeah, so this is the card of the year, and it's the card that popped up for me right now as I was shuffling my cards. And it's a beautiful card. It's a
Apropos.
figure who's literally crossing out, leaving the city behind him. Those little buildings in the background are the city that he's leaving. And what is this telling us? That we're leaving the old world, our old model, our structure. We're on the other side. We're crossing into I'm going to say a discovery period, which is what the charioteer is doing. He's conquered this material world here that he's leaving behind, and he crosses the river, and he is canopied with stars. He has stars on his crown. He has this square cube that he sits in. It's the union of the stars, the heaven and earth, and he is the one who travels between them. This is the energy of the year. It's the energy of this period we're going into, this discovery of who we are beyond this physical plane. That's a beautiful card to jump out right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And mine that fell out because I'm not great at shuffling is the Page of Cups. And if you can see that, just
Wow.
look at that. That is so apropos, just like yours is. They're kind of doing the jump out right now, okay?
I love the
And
jump out.
looking at it, I'll tell you, remember we were just speaking about the new era of warriors or people that are going to pave the way to
Mhm.
change the things that they would wish to see coming. And look
Yeah,
at, to me, all the monolith of things that's trying to come at them, but they still fearing their way through, pushing their way through, and they're saying, you're not going to stop us. They're not even afraid. They're
not even
just
afraid.
forging through. And also, it's a part of it is dealing with the emotions and the mental health issues and everything that people are dealing with, helping
Yes,
being help through a lot of that. But it's just the adversity that they have coming at them, and they kind of forging forward, and they saying, as small as I am, I'm going to take you on. I'm small as I am. You may think I'm small, but I'm going to take you on, and I'm going to win. And they're not afraid, and they're
that's
willing to
right.
fight for it. And that's something that I think we need
Yeah,
from you guys, to be able to see people have done it in the past, and we're going to keep doing it. They can't take those rights away from us, and we keep forging ahead. And
that's
there's a lot
beautiful.
more with it, but it's just so apropos for what's coming with that Pisces when it steps into there on March 7th. So it's some things that you guys know will be shifting into that. And yeah,
Embrace
okay.
that page energy.
Yes,
Beautiful. Well, we are almost at the end of our show here. We're almost at the end. We are going to introduce our guests for next week. So before we say farewell, let's just introduce those guests for next week. I'm going to share a clip with you, and we'll be right
yes.
back.
All right. So I wanted
Yes.
you guys to join us next Friday, the 27th at 10 p.m. again. And we would have Nikki Kirby and Saul Ravencraft of Manifestasia, the event that's going on this weekend. And they will be here next week with us to talk about that event. So
Yes.
again, we, both Rhonda and I, would like to thank you all for being here tonight. And it's such an honor and pleasure. And we cannot wait to see you guys again next Friday.
And thank you so much for all of the questions, the feedback, the comment, the support has
Yeah.
been incredible. Truly appreciate it. If you have recommendations on guests that you'd like to see, share it. We have a slew and a lot of people already signed up, but just go
Yeah.
ahead and drop us a comment and share and like and hit that little alarm, that little bell so that you can get notifications for the
Yes.
next show. And listen, everyone, thank you so much. We appreciate your
Yeah. Yeah.
support. We will see you next
Next
Friday.
Friday. Thank you.